just want to welcome Garrod and Shane here today, and we had met with Garrod, and I just think, and we have all seen this, that, you know, to get proper legislation is just really, and a proper framework for everybody is so important. And, you know, just listening to your stories, and they are hard because families are all affected by this. So I think for us, I felt anyway from reading your stories, and that we need to get this legislation done as soon as possible. And that would be the main thing for me, because I think it's so important. And, you know, I suppose, like, every child is equal. Every child is equal. They go to the school together, they play together. Every child is equal. And that has to be, and it is, what we are absolutely committed to doing. So what I will just ask, and I suppose actually Senator Mary Siri Carney now, as we know, is on top of her brief on this now and has asked a lot of the questions that I was actually going to ask. But Garrod, just about, you spoke about your lovely children, and, you know, we spoke about birth certs and that, but travelling documents, you know, that has to be a huge issue there, as in, you know, we see it ourselves even at the moment trying to get birth certs for children. It's absolutely a nightmare. So maybe you might just come back to me on that one. And look, I just, as I said, like, a lot of my questions were answered about the different areas. About you spoke about the USA and Canada and England, about, you know, that's where you're actually, I think, Shane, going through some surrogacy there in Canada, is it? And look, I really want to wish you the best. I think it's unfortunate here that we don't have proper framework and legislation, but I will be giving you my full support. And just my question is just about the travel documents to Garrod. And again, I'm sorry, Mary has most of the questions answered. Thank you both, and thank you very much. Oh, you're grand.
Thank you very much, Deputy, for those questions. So yeah, I would like to echo your point that, I mean, legislation is needed as soon as possible, and I believe that has to also retrospectively cover children already born. Yes. But to answer your specific question in relation to travel documents, so Shane and I are here representing parents who primarily access surrogacy, as we mentioned, through Canada, the United States and the UK. In those destinations, let me just explain that with Canada and the United States, because the process is covered by legislation in those countries, because everybody's rights and responsibilities are clearly defined, the children can actually apply, the parents rather, can apply on behalf of their child when it's born for a passport from those two countries. In relation to the UK, a child can return home, a newborn child can return home on the basis of its birth certificate because of the travel arrangements between Ireland and the UK. Provided the parents carry appropriate travel documents, they can come back to Ireland with their newborn baby just on the basis of the child having a birth certificate. But what happens then when the child gets back here to Ireland? That's where it gets tough, because there is no legislation, unlike the three destinations I've mentioned. So if the parents wish to apply for a passport here in Ireland, an Irish passport for their child, the application will proceed on the basis of the father having a genetic link to his child, and he will become the applicant. The surrogate mother, if the child is making the application before the age of 2, let me explain. The surrogate mother, if the application is made before the declaration of parentage has been applied for by the father in the Irish courts, she will also have to sign the passport application. And that causes a lot of complexity because, as Shane alluded to, surrogate mothers in our experience enter these agreements and arrangements with full consent. They know exactly what they're being asked to do by the intended parents and what they wish to do for the intended parents. They don't want to be the mother of these children. They don't want legal responsibility for these children. They want that to be applied to the intended parents. So when they're asked to sign passport documents, it often causes them anxiety because it suddenly seems that the Irish state is coming back to them saying, no, you are the mother. So to clarify, when the application is made here for an Irish passport, it has to come from the biological dad. And if the declaration of parentage has not gone through the court system, which is often the case because, as we spoke last week, it can take a long time, the surrogate mother will be required to co-sign that application. And she will be contacted by the passport office in order to verify that she has signed the application. So she is the second person, the second applicant for the application.